So we're talking about the launch of the Lumia 900 for Nokia, and when AT&T says something like, this is one of our biggest launches ever, or biggest launches ever, bigger than the iPhone, and no pressure, right? So, so how do you respond to something like that? Is the pressure too high, or do you feel like you guys are up to the challenge?
Well, I look at it as all opportunity for us. I mean, I think we have a great device that's differentiated, both the design, I think, beautiful, the screen, stunning. I think the imaging we have on is amazing. It's an LTE device with AT&T, so blazing fast. And the way you think about it, it's 10 times faster than a non-LTE phone. And so I think we have an amazing device at a really affordable price point at $99. So I think about it as opportunity, not pressure.
Right. So when you look at who's going to be coming into the stores, right? And Nokia and AT&T have been talking a lot about educating customers and making sure they understand the benefits. And obviously the design plays a big role, right? Because this looks a lot different than your typical slab, right? Of Android or anything else. So design plays a big role, but what are the 2 or 3 things that you think are going to get people to gravitate towards not just Windows Phone in general, but your Windows Phone?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. I think design is fantastic. I think price point, I mean, we make it accessible to a large population of consumers, which is great.
Right.
And I think there's experience. I mean, you have the screen that's beautiful with clear black display that looks fantastic in sunlight. You have imaging, which is great imaging. And then I think about unique Nokia experiences, things like Nokia Drive, which is the best turn-by-turn directions. That's available for free for all Lumia devices.
Right.
Things like Nokia Transit for public transportation. Things like ESPN, which is a unique app that brings unique functionality and content only to Lumia phones. And we can go on and on. I mean, CNN, Sesame Street, et cetera, Univision.
Right.
So we have a whole set of unique experiences I think really differentiate this device for consumers.
A lot of people have been talking about the app gap that exists on the Windows Phone platform, and even though Microsoft has made a lot of progress, there are over 80,000 applications, you guys are stepping up to the plate with Nokia Drive and CNN and ESPN and delivering some of those experiences that you're talking about, but there are still some titles that people wish they had, like Angry Birds Space, Pandora, or a couple that come to mind. How do you close that gap, and how do you sort of leverage your own strengths working with developers that you did with Symbian and sort of that heritage?
Yeah. So let me talk about the progress we've made. Is you talked about the 80,000. When we signed the deal with Microsoft in February, we had less than 6,000 apps in the Windows marketplace. Today we have over 80,000. So fantastic progress. That's work by both Nokia and Microsoft.
Right.
So we're continuing to do that work. Job not done, and we're continuing to focus on it.
Right.
But it's not just the total number of apps, it's the right apps, and then making sure those have unique experiences. So when we bring an app to Windows Phone, making sure it utilizes the panorama view, live tiles, hubs, etc.
Right.
And then what Nokia is doing, as I talked about, is bringing unique experiences to the Lumia devices, and you'll see that continue to grow and get better. But things like you mentioned, CNN, ESPN, Sesame Street, Drive, Transit, Univision, a whole host of those things that we think really create a differentiated experience for the consumer.
Okay, so how do you measure success for a launch like this, and how important is it to Nokia on a scale of 1 to 10?
It's very important, obviously, and it's a step in our transformation and our journey along with Windows Phone. Coming back in the U.S., very important for us. I get a lot of questions about, what's the unit goal, what's the market share? Obviously, I wouldn't talk about any of those things publicly.
Right.
What I will tell you is what myself and our leadership team is myopically focused on, and that's the consumer experience. Now, the official term we use is Net Promoter Score.
Right.
Without getting into the science of it, it's how much that consumer loves the device and is willing to recommend it to a friend, a family friend, etc. We are so focused on that because we think if we get that right and customers love the device, they have a great experience, and they're willing to tell other people and recommend it, all the other business metrics take care of itself. So that is the thing that we focus on across my organization, because again, that's the thing, if we get right, everything else takes care of itself.